Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. And this is going to be a new what if. What if Deku had the Quirk Predator? So let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. So let me explain this power. This power first originated from the person Rimuru Tempest. If you don't know who that is, go watch The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's a really good anime and I really recommend it. So how this power is going to work for Izuku is anything that he eats or ingests into his body, he'll gain the abilities of it and the powers of what he just ate or ingested. So for this scenario to work, I want to say that Izuku's dad is still around and his job is a zookeeper. I know that's funny, but just go on with it. So as Izuku goes to the quirk doctor the next day, the quirk doctor explains that his quirk is called Predator and that anything he eats or ingests, he can gain the abilities of what he just ate. Izuku is happy that he has a quirk. He realizes that he's not as strong as Kacchan, and he realizes that he's gonna need to train to catch up with him. As Izuku goes home, he tells his dad what his quirk is. As Izuku's dad is happy that Izuku has a quirk, Izuku continues asking his dad if he can get animal DNA from the zoo. As Izuku's dad thinks about this, thinking that he might get yelled by his boss, as Izuku begs his dad for him to do this for him. As Izuku's dad sighs, he tells Izuku that he wants him to train as hard as he can if he does this for him. As Izuku tells his dad that he promises to train hard, and he also says that he's going to become the #1 hero. As Izuku goes to his room, thinking what he might do when he gets all the DNA from the animals, he gets thirsty and goes and grabs a cup of water. As Izuku drinks the cup of water, he realizes that he's gotten the ability to turn into water and slightly control it. As Izuku goes outside to test this ability, he sees that he's able to turn into water and he's able to create a water slash. As Izuku continues on testing his abilities, his mom calls him in, telling him that it's time for dinner. As Izuku goes home and eats dinner, he realizes that he's gotten the abilities to absorb sunlight for energy, and he also gets a slight healing factor from the plants that he ate. And he's also gotten enhanced senses and an overall stat boost from all the meat that he ate. Now I'm gonna do an 8-year time skip, and in between that time skip, Izuku's gotten all the DNA from the animals and has also enhanced his abilities regularly. So he gets super strength, super speed, super durability, poison teeth, poison spit. He's able to jump really high. His reflexes are really good, and he also has this ability where he can recover even quicker if he sleeps, and he gets a slight Zenkai boost, you can call it. And he also has the ability to like camouflage himself, and he can sneak around easily in places. And he's also able to climb walls and make spider webs, but it's not as strong as Spider-Man's. And he's also able to make poison needles with his hair. And his senses are like maxed out. He can hear, see, and smell anything from like a mile radius. And basically that's all the powers that Izuku has for right now. So Izuku's 12 right now, and let's say he's working on a homework assignment and he starts like chewing on his pencil. I don't know why, but he is. And a small piece of that wood goes into his like body, and while Izuku's just doing his homework, he gains the ability to turn himself into wood. As Izuku's surprised that he got this ability. As Izuku goes and thinks what else could he eat to gain other abilities. As Izuku goes to his kitchen drawer and picks up a fork and uses his super strength to break a tiny bit off and eat it, he got the ability to turn his body into metal. And like that's the abilities that I'm gonna give him for now, for till the start of the anime. So we start off with Izuku sitting in class waiting for his teacher. As his teacher walks in holding career form papers and telling the class that he knows that everyone wants to be a hero, and throws the papers up in the air. As everyone in class starts to show off their quirk except for Izuku and Bakugo. As Bakugo says his snarky remark saying that everyone probably might as well be a sidekick for a D-lister. As Izuku is not fazed by this. As the teacher starts to explain that who wants to go to UA, he says that he sees that both Izuku and Kacchan want to go UA. as Kacchan looks at Izuku and snarls and gives him an angry look. As Izuku doesn't mind this and just goes on doing his work. After class, Kacchan walks up to Izuku and tells him that he better not get in his way and blows up his hero notebook. As Izuku chuckles in his mind, thinking that there's no way that Kacchan is able to beat him. After that, Izuku wanted to go home early today, so he took a shortcut under a bridge. As he went under the bridge, he realized that something was about to attack him. As Izuku dodges at the right moment before the sludge monster could even lunge at him, the sludge monster was confused in what just happened, so Izuku punched it, but his punch was to no avail, as the sludge monster dragged him in and started to try to go inside Izuku's body. But Izuku had no other choice and bites down and takes a piece of the sludge monster, as a pop-up comes up telling him that he got the power to turn into a slime. As Izuku is confused, he uses his water slashes and makes the sludge monster into pieces. So he takes 2 bottles and puts the sludge monster in them. But before anything else could happen, All Might comes up saying, "I'm here," and he sees that Izuku already took care of the sludge monster. As Izuku hands All Might the 2 bottles and tells him that he's sorry for using his quirk, and All Might just replies saying that it's alright and that he already took care of the sludge villain, so there's no need to apologize. As Izuku takes out his notebook, wanting All Might to sign it, but he sees that All Might already signed it. As All Might chuckles and jumps away, but Izuku wanted to ask him one more thing, and jumps right next to All Might and accidentally nudges him. As the sludge bottles fall out of All Might's pocket, they don't realize, as both All Might and Deku land next to a rooftop. As All Might asks Izuku why he was following him, Izuku responds by saying that he had a question for All Might. As All Might was running out of time, he asks Izuku what his question was immediately. As before Izuku could even ask his question, All Might deflates. As All Might deflates, Izuku thinks that this is an imposter and gets in a fighting stance ready to fight. But before he could punch or fight All Might assures him that he's the real All Might and that he has a time limit now because of his injury. As All Might shows him his injury, Izuku understands. Then Izuku asks him his question. His question is, can someone be a hero even without a flashy quirk? As All Might answers, he tells him that anyone with a quirk can be a hero. As Izuku understands and tells All Might that he'll become the best hero that he can be. But before Izuku could even finish, there's a loud explosion in the distance. Before All Might could even react, Izuku jumps off the building and starts running toward the explosion. As Izuku gets there, he sees that Kacchan was being encased and trapped by the sludge monster. As he sees this, he doesn't even think and runs into the battle, trying to save his former comrade. He makes his hands into claws and claws Kacchan out and pulls him out of the sludge monster. As he does this, he uses his water blades and cuts the sludge monster into the pieces. As he does this, a small piece of the sludge monster escapes. As Izuku is also praised and scolded for defeating the sludge monster and saving his friend, but acting reckless and running into the battle. As Izuku is being scolded and praised, Kacchan looks at Izuku and snarls. As they start to leave, Kacchan tells Izuku that he didn't need his help. As Kacchan snarls and walks away, as Izuku looks at Kacchan and chuckles and leaves. As Izuku starts walking away, All Might pops up, telling Izuku that he wanted him to be his successor, as Izuku didn't understand what All Might meant. All Might meant that he could pass on his quirk and that he can give it to other people. Izuku was confused what All Might meant, but as All Might explained it more, Izuku decided that he wanted to be All Might's successor. On the first day of the 10-month training, All Might realizes that Izuku could probably handle One For All straight off the bat. So Izuku uses One For All, and as soon as he uses 100%, his hands fall off. As Izuku was confused that he didn't feel any pain, and then reaches out for his hand and just reattaches it. As both All Might and Izuku were confused on what just happened, Izuku tells All Might that this must have been from his slime ability when he accidentally ate some of the sludge monster. Izuku continues on training and figures out he can use around 80% of One For All, without his hand falling off. But since Izuku has more time to train, he can use full cowling this time, and he can use around 50% of it. The day before the entrance exam, Izuku had a question about One for All for All Might. As Izuku was about to ask this question to All Might, they were rudely interrupted by Shigaraki slow clapping and coming closer and closer. Hey guys, I think this is where I'm going to leave it off. Other than that, if you guys want to know what happens to Shigaraki and how he knew that where Izuku and All Might were, you guys are going to have to wait for part 2. And if you guys want a part 2, you guys are going to have to like and subscribe. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good day.